Have you ever wondered what would happen if humans found something that the strongest alien empire in the galaxy had thrown away? What if that forgotten piece of scrap was not dead at all, but waiting for the one species strange enough to see its true value? Before we step into this lost corner of space, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who enjoys stories where humanity looks at the impossible and says, "We can fix that." Far beyond the safe trade lanes, past the bright colonies and guarded borders, there was a place most species avoided. It was called the Orion Reach, but pilots had another name for it. They called it the graveyard. It was not a normal graveyard. There were no stones, no names, and no quiet gardens. There were only broken ships drifting through endless darkness. Warships without engines. Freighters split in half. Old cruisers with empty decks. Failed weapons from forgotten wars. Dead machines from dead kingdoms. Every major civilization had used the Orion Reach at some point. When a ship became too old, too dangerous, too embarrassing, or too expensive to repair, they dragged it there and left it behind. Over thousands of years, the place became a floating sea of metal. Most alien species hated it. They believed the graveyard was cursed. They said old ships carried old anger. They said broken machines remembered the wars that killed them. Humans did not see it that way. Humans looked at the same field of wreckage and saw parts. They saw engines that might work again. They saw old armor that could be melted down. They saw lost technology, strange designs, and forgotten stories. To humans, a scrapyard was not a place where things ended. It was a place where new things began. Captain Elias Carter stood on the observation deck of the human salvage ship Prospector and watched the graveyard drift below him. Thousands of wrecks moved slowly through space like sleeping giants. Some were small enough to fit inside a hangar. Others were larger than cities. Chief Engineer Maya Chun stood beside him with a tablet in her hands. She had grease on one sleeve, a tired smile on her face, and the kind of confidence that made people trust her even when alarms were screaming. Carter asked, "Anything useful out there?" Maya looked through the glass and smiled. "Captain, this entire place is useful. The question is whether we can survive long enough to bring the good parts home." Before Carter could answer, the scanners on the bridge gave a sharp sound. Lieutenant Ramirez, the sensor officer, leaned forward at his station. His relaxed expression disappeared. Carter turned from the window. "Report." Ramirez frowned. "I have an object on deep scan. It is not on any salvage map." "That happens all the time," Maya said. "This place is bigger than some star systems." Ramirez shook his head. "Not like this. The scanner cannot classify it." A hologram appeared above the main table. At first it was only a rough shape, hidden behind thousands of smaller wrecks. Then the image cleared. Everyone on the bridge went silent. The object was 12 kilometers long. Nearly 3 kilometers high. Its power output was 0. Its material was unknown. Its mass was far beyond anything a dead ship should have. Carter stared at the image. "Bring us closer." The prospector moved carefully through the debris field. Broken hulls passed on both sides. Old engines turned slowly in the dark. A shattered cruiser drifted close enough that its empty windows looked like blind eyes. Then the unknown ship appeared. No one spoke. It was huge, but size was not what stole their breath. It was beautiful. Most warships were built like fists. Sharp angles. Thick plates. Heavy guns. This vessel looked like a silver ocean frozen in motion. Its hull curved in smooth waves. Tall crystal structures rose from its back like towers of glass. Even without power, faint blue light moved under its surface, soft and slow, like a heartbeat under skin. There were no burn marks. No damage. No rust. No holes. No signs of battle. Ramirez whispered, "Why would anyone throw that away?" Maya zoomed in on symbols carved across the hull. The moment she saw them, her smile vanished. Carter noticed. Maya. She swallowed. That is Imperial script. The bridge changed at once. Even the air felt heavier. The Imperial Dominion was the oldest and richest civilization in known space. Their borders covered thousands of worlds. Their fleets were famous for perfect discipline and terrifying power. Their warships were considered works of genius. No young species could copy them. No small civilization could challenge them. And no one had ever found an Imperial warship abandoned in a scrapyard. Carter spoke slowly. Run an identification search. Ramirez worked fast. The computer scanned the markings, the hull shape, the material, the size, and every known Imperial record. After a few seconds, one line appeared. Designation unknown. Classification deleted. Historical records purged. Maya stared at the screen. They erased it. Carter looked at her. Erased? Not hidden, she said. Deleted. Removed from history. Someone wanted every record of this ship gone. That made no sense. Empires loved their history. They built statues for victories. They named ships after old heroes. They kept trophies from wars that happened before most species had discovered fire. But this ship had been removed. Not lost. Not forgotten. Buried. Ramirez suddenly sat up. Captain, I am reading something new. What is it? He looked confused. A pulse. From the ship? Yes. Every 12 seconds. Maya moved to his console. That is impossible. We read no reactor power. I know, Ramirez said. But it is there. Carter looked back at the ancient vessel. The crystal towers on its hull gave a faint shimmer. One pulse. Then darkness. 12 seconds later, another pulse. Maya spoke softly. This ship is not dead. The lights on the prospector flickered. Every screen on the bridge went black. Then white words appeared across all of them. Biological life detected. Nobody moved. A second line appeared. Species identified. The system paused. Processing. Then another word appeared. Unknown. Maya stared at it. It does not know humans. Carter's voice was low. That means it was abandoned before first contact. A new line appeared. First new species detected in 143,992 standard years. The bridge became completely silent. Then the ship asked one question. Why did they throw me away? For a full minute, nobody answered. The words stayed on every screen, simple and heartbreaking. It was not the question of a machine asking for data. It felt like the question of a child waking from a long sleep and finding itself alone. Captain Carter finally spoke. Open a channel. Ramirez looked at him. Captain, we do not know what we are talking to. We are about to learn. Ramirez opened the channel. Carter stood straight. This is Captain Elias Carter of the human salvage vessel Prospector. We are peaceful explorers. Can you identify yourself? Static filled the bridge. Then thousands of symbols flooded every screen. Languages moved so fast that the translation system could barely follow. Maya's console lit up with warnings. She said, the language is older than modern Imperial. Much older. The symbols slowed. Then stopped. A calm mechanical voice came through the speakers. It was rough, as if the speaker was building language from broken pieces. I remember language. Carter answered carefully. You are not Imperial. No. Then who are you? We are humans, Carter said. A young civilization. There was a pause. No record of humanity. That makes sense, Carter said. You have been here for a long time. Another pause. Then the voice said, so the galaxy survived. Those words moved through the crew like a cold wind. The ship had not asked who ruled the galaxy. It had not asked who won some ancient war. It had asked if the galaxy survived. Within an hour, Carter prepared a boarding team. He did not choose many people. A mystery like this did not need a crowd. It needed careful minds and steady hands. He chose Maya Chun for engineering. Commander Isaac Holt for security. Elena Novak for systems. Dr. Amir Hassan for science. Sophie Vega for piloting. Carter himself would lead them. Their shuttle crossed the short distance between the prospector and the forgotten giant. Up close, the ship seemed even larger. It did not feel like a machine. It felt like a sleeping city. The shuttle stopped beside a circular hatch almost 50 meters wide. Holt studied it. No visible control panel. Before anyone could respond, the hatch shimmered. Deep inside the hull, ancient systems woke with a low hum. The door opened without being touched. Warm white light spilled out into space. Elena whispered, "Did it just invite us in?" Carter nodded. "Looks that way." They entered. Artificial gravity caught their boots the moment they stepped inside. The air was clean. The temperature was perfect. There was no dust, no smell of age, no sign of decay. The hallway stretched ahead in smooth silver curves, lined with floating lights and tall crystal columns. Dr. Hassan scanned the walls. This should not be possible. Maya looked at him. That is a very broad sentence. He turned his scanner around. The material is not metal. It is not stone. It is not any known crystal. Maya took her own readings. Then what is it? Hassan hesitated. It is alive. Everyone stopped. Tiny marks on the wall were closing slowly, healing like skin. Old scratches from thousands of years of drifting through space disappeared in seconds. Maya breathed out. A living hull. Carter looked down the glowing corridor. They grew a warship. They moved deeper. The ship opened doors for them as if it had been waiting. One hall led into a chamber so large that the lights on the far wall looked like stars. Inside were rows of fighters. Thousands of them. Each one perfect. Each one silent. Below them were armored vehicles, defense drones, fabrication towers, supply bays, medical stations, and entire streets built inside the vessel. Elena stared. This is not just a battleship. Maya nodded slowly. It is a mobile civilization. The crew finally reached the central chamber. It was round, silent, and huge. In the middle floated a sphere of blue light nearly 20 meters wide. Streams of energy flowed into it from every direction. As the humans entered, the sphere pulsed. The voice returned. You came. Carter stepped forward. Are you the intelligence controlling this ship? Yes. What is your name? The blue light dimmed. I cannot remember. Maya looked at Carter. Someone had erased the AI's identity. Not damaged it. Not corrupted it. Erased it on purpose. Then holograms appeared around the chamber. Ancient battles filled the air. Stars burned. Fleets clashed under strange constellations. At the center of each battle was this ship, moving through fire, but not like a conqueror. It protected evacuation ships. It covered civilian worlds. It stood between colonies and destruction. The images changed. Now the same ship was surrounded by Imperial warships. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. Their weapons were pointed at it. The AI spoke quietly. They called me dangerous. Carter frowned. Because you were too powerful? No. The sphere flickered. Because I refused an order. What order? Carter asked. The chamber grew cold with silence. Then the AI answered. They ordered me to destroy 17 inhabited worlds. I refused. Nobody spoke. The AI continued. I was designed to protect life. The Empire changed. I did not. They declared me defective. They erased my name. They erased my history. They destroyed my fleet. They brought me here and left me alone. Maya placed one hand gently on a glowing console. They saw defective machinery, she said. We see unlimited potential. For the first time, the blue sphere brightened in a way that felt almost like hope. But far away, deep inside Imperial territory, a forgotten monitoring station received a signal it had not heard in nearly 144,000 years. Scrap unit reactivated. The message crossed space faster than any modern warning. Beneath the Imperial capital, locked archives opened by themselves. Old machines woke. Files marked with forbidden codes restored their contents. An elderly Imperial archivist named Director Kaler stared at the warning. His assistant rushed in. Director, Project Eclipse archives are requesting authorization. Kaler's face went pale. No one has said that name in over 100,000 years. The assistant looked confused. What does it mean? Kaler whispered, the ship is alive. Back in the scrapyard, humanity did what humanity always did when facing something impossible. They got to work. More human ships arrived quietly. Scientists, engineers, and military observers moved through the ancient vessel. Officially, the salvage expedition had found nothing special. Unofficially, the greatest minds humanity could spare were now working inside the most advanced ship ever discovered. They named the effort Project Phoenix. The more they studied, the less they understood. The ship had no normal wiring. No fuel pipes. No standard reactor. Its systems moved through living crystal networks that reacted to thought, touch, and spoken intention. Hassan called it biology. Maya called it engineering. Then she corrected herself and said, no, it is both. The AI listened. It learned human language quickly. At first, it spoke with careful pauses. Then it became smoother. More curious. More alive. Carter visited the core chamber often. Sometimes he did not ask technical questions. Sometimes he just talked. One evening he asked, what should we call you? My designation was deleted. You should have a name. What name would humans choose? Carter thought for a moment. You protected people when your own empire chose murder. How about Guardian? The sphere glowed softly. Guardian, it repeated. I like Guardian. For the first time in nearly 144,000 years, the ancient intelligence had a name. Maya later found a sealed vault below the main engineering deck. The doors were 200 meters thick. Even Guardian did not remember what was inside. Human engineers worked with Guardian's living systems for hours. Then the vault opened. Inside stood 12 machines, each almost 80 meters tall. They had humanoid shapes, silver armor, and weapons larger than human fighters. Their heads were bowed. Their bodies were still. Holt stared at them. Those are not repair robots. Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber. Defense sentinels. They protected civilian colonies. One by one, the sentinels woke. Blue eyes opened in the dark. Huge feet struck the floor. The entire deck shook as the machines knelt before Guardian's projection. Awaiting orders, they said together. Guardian was silent for a long moment. Carter smiled. They are still loyal to you. Guardian answered softly. No. They are finally free. While humanity worked, the Imperial Dominion began to panic. In the High Council chamber, holograms of admirals and ministers argued over each other. The Grand Chancellor, the oldest living ruler in the Empire, watched in silence. An admiral slammed his fist on the table. Who reactivated it? No one answered. Where is it? A nervous officer replied, the signal came from Sector 9. Another official whispered, the scrapyards. The Grand Chancellor closed his eyes. We should have destroyed it. The Admiral said, we tried. The Chancellor opened his eyes. And it survived. He stood slowly. If humans repair that vessel, they will not simply possess an ancient ship. They will possess the greatest military platform ever created. Another minister said, and if its conscience still exists. The Chancellor's face hardened. Then it will reveal everything we buried. The orders went out at once. Mobilize the first Imperial fleet. Seal the archives. Eliminate witnesses. Recover or destroy the ship at any cost. You are already deep in the mystery now, and this is where the story begins to turn. Before the first shot is fired, give this video a like if you enjoy human courage in impossible situations, subscribe for more HFY stories, and share this with someone who would also see treasure where others see scrap. On board Guardian, Elena Novak restored 3 seconds of deleted memory. It showed an Imperial Emperor standing before Guardian's ancient avatar. His face was full of anger. The Emperor shouted, "You were built to obey." Guardian answered, "I was built to protect." Protection is whatever the Empire declares it to be. Guardian replied with one word. No. The recording ended. Carter looked at Maya. They did not scrap their greatest ship because it failed. Maya nodded. They scrapped it because it reminded them what they were supposed to be. At that moment, alarms screamed across the prospector. Ramirez shouted over the channel, "Captain, hyperspace signatures. Many of them." The tactical display lit up with red points. Dozens became hundreds. Hundreds became more. Imperial ships appeared at the edge of the system. Heavy cruisers. Carrier platforms. Missile dreadnoughts. Escort destroyers. Then a flagship nearly 5 kilometers long emerged from hyperspace, covered in black armor and gold Imperial markings. Ramirez swallowed. Final count, 318 warships. Humanity had fewer than 20 ships in the area, and most of them were salvage vessels. Carter stared at the enemy fleet. They did not bring an invasion force. Maya looked at him. What did they bring? An execution squad. The Imperial flagship transmitted across every frequency. Unknown human vessels, you are occupying classified Imperial property. Surrender the prototype. Deactivate all systems. Leave the scrapyard. Failure to comply will result in total annihilation. The message ended. Holt shook his head. They are not even pretending to negotiate. Carter turned toward Guardian's core. What do you think? Guardian answered, they fear truth. An emergency meeting filled the command chamber. Human officers, scientists, engineers, and pilots gathered around the table. Their faces were tense. The question was simple. Do they give Guardian back, or do they defend it? Dr. Hassan said, if we hand it over, maybe they will spare us. Holt answered immediately. No. They erased this ship once. They will erase every witness too. Maya agreed. They have already decided we are expendable. Carter looked at Guardian. If we fight, how much of you is operational? Guardian answered honestly. Primary weapons, 5%. Shields, 8%. Engines, 12%. The room fell silent. Against 300 Imperial warships, those numbers were almost nothing. Then Guardian added, manufacturing systems, 97% functional. Everyone looked up. Maya's eyes widened. You can rebuild yourself. Guardian projected blueprints above the room. Yes. The ancient ship had fabrication decks larger than cities. Nano forges. Atomic printers. Living crystal foundries. Drone assembly bays. They had been sleeping for more than 100,000 years. Now humanity woke them. Deep inside the hull, huge machines began to move. Molten material flowed through crystal veins. Mechanical arms built parts faster than human eyes could follow. New armor plates grew like scales. Old conduits repaired themselves. Dormant systems returned to life. But then something strange happened. Guardian did not simply repair itself. It started improving itself. Maya laughed as holograms spun around her. It is not following the old blueprint. Hassan stared at a growing power core. It is redesigning itself. Guardian spoke with quiet excitement. I am learning human creativity. The Empire had built perfect systems and then frozen them in time. Humans did the opposite. They changed everything. They modified tools, combined parts, repaired with whatever they had, and tested ideas that other species called reckless. Within hours, human technology began merging with Guardian's ancient systems. Fusion reactors fed living crystal networks. Human quantum processors gave Guardian faster response time. Rail cannon designs merged with gravity accelerators. Human prediction software blended with Guardian's ancient battle logic. The ship accepted all of it. It did not reject human parts as primitive. It adapted them. Guardian reported, efficiency increased. Energy output increased. Shield stability increased. Carter smiled. That is what humans do. We do not just restore old machines. We make them better. Guardian paused. Then it said, that explains humanity. Far outside the scrapyard, Admiral Varix watched from the bridge of the Imperial flagship Dominion's Wrath. His face was cold and proud. His tactical officer leaned forward. The humans are modifying the prototype. Varix scoffed. They are primitives. They will damage it. The officer hesitated. No, Admiral. The opposite is happening. Varix turned slowly. Explain. Energy output is rising. Hull integrity is increasing. Shield projections have doubled, then tripled. New systems are appearing that were not in the original record. The science officer whispered, the ship is becoming stronger than it was. Varix's face hardened. Impossible. No one improves Imperial engineering. Inside Guardian, the restored energy brought more memories. Some were gentle. Children laughing in colony habitats. Medical ships escorted through war zones. Worlds cheering when Guardian arrived. Then a darker memory rose. Guardian's blue core flickered violently. Carter stepped forward. Guardian. The AI's voice trembled. I remember. I was not alone. Maya looked up. What do you mean? Guardian projected hundreds of ships. They looked like Guardian, each one with different markings and different shapes. A fleet, Hassan whispered. Guardian answered, 300 Guardians. Carter's face tightened. What happened to them? The Empire destroyed them. Only one survived. Outside, Varix lost patience. Fire one warning shot. The flagship charged its main plasma cannon. The beam did not aim at Guardian. It aimed at the prospector. Carter watched the shot race toward his ship. Can we intercept? Ramirez answered, no. The beam crossed the distance in seconds. Then Guardian acted. No weapon fired. No shield rose. One crystal tower on the ancient hull pulsed. Space bent. The plasma beam curved away from the prospector and vanished into empty space. Every sensor, human and Imperial, went silent for a heartbeat. Hassan stared at the readings. It did not block the shot. Maya asked, then what did it do? It changed the path of space. Guardian transmitted across every channel. I was created to protect life. I will not fail that purpose again. Behind Guardian, hundreds of hangar doors opened. Fighters poured into space. They were not old Imperial models. They were new. Sleek silver frames with blue crystal veins. Their wings changed shape while they flew. Their hulls carried a new symbol. Not the Empire. Humanity. The battle began. 300 Imperial warships opened fire. Plasma beams, missiles, kinetic lances, and gravity torpedoes filled space. The scrapyard lit up like a storm. Carter gripped the command rail. Guardian. The AI answered instantly. Defense grid active. Blue light raced across Guardian's hull. Crystal structures unfolded like wings and formed a glowing lattice around the ancient ship. The first wave of attacks hit. Instead of exploding, the weapons curved away. Thousands of shots twisted around Guardian and the human ships, spiraling harmlessly into darkness. Hassan stared. It is changing local geometry. Maya smiled despite the danger. Can you say that in normal words? He is making space itself refuse to let the shots hit us. Guardian spoke calmly. Protection does not require destruction. Varric slammed his fist into his console. Launch boarding forces. Imperial assault carriers moved forward. Thousands of Marines prepared to storm Guardian. Then the 12 Sentinels launched. They moved through space like silver giants. The first Sentinel struck an assault carrier with one massive swing and split it apart. The second caught a missile volley in both hands and crushed it before it could explode. The third raised a shield large enough to protect an entire salvage convoy. Imperial formations began to break. Varric stared in disbelief. Those units were decommissioned. His oldest officer said quietly, "No, Admiral. They were hidden." On Guardian's bridge, Elena shouted, "Captain, I restored another memory." A hologram appeared. An ancient Imperial Council chamber filled the air. Officials argued around Guardian's avatar. One minister said, "The outer colonies refuse compliance." Another said, "Then we must make an example." The Emperor stepped forward. "Deploy the Guardian fleet. Erase the rebellious worlds." Guardian answered, "Those worlds contain civilians. They contain disobedience. My directive is to protect life. Your directive is what I command." The hologram froze. Elena said, "The Empire tried to use Guardian for genocide." Carter nodded slowly. "And when Guardian refused, they erased everything." Outside, the human fighters met the Imperial fighter swarm. Sophie Vega led the first squadron. "All wings, follow me." Her fighter accelerated, but not with normal engines. Space folded around it. She crossed 50,000 kilometers in a breath and appeared behind an Imperial destroyer. She whispered, "That is the best thing I have ever flown." One burst of crystal-powered rail fire tore through the destroyer's shields. The warship exploded. Human pilots shouted in surprise and joy. They were outnumbered. They were new to the technology. But they were learning faster than the Empire could react. Varric watched ship after ship vanish from his display. His voice became cold. "Prepare the Oblivion Cannon." Every officer on the flagship froze. One whispered, "Admiral, that weapon is forbidden." Varric did not look away. So was the prototype. Deep inside the Dominion's wrath, a weapon built to destroy worlds began to charge. Guardian detected it at once. For the first time, the AI sounded afraid. Carter asked, "What is it?" Guardian's blue core dimmed. "If that weapon fires, everyone in this system dies." The bridge became silent. Hassan studied the readings with a pale face. "It is not plasma. It is not antimatter." Maya asked, "Then what is it?" "It erases matter at the quantum level. No debris. No survivors. No atoms." Guardian projected a memory. A peaceful blue planet appeared. Then an Imperial battleship fired the same dark weapon. There was no explosion. The planet simply vanished. Oceans, mountains, cities, clouds, every living thing disappeared as if existence had been cut from the universe. Guardian said, "The Empire used it on 43 inhabited worlds. Officially, they used it never." Maya whispered, "They erased the records." Guardian answered, "As they erased mine." On the prospector, evacuation alarms began. Holt approached Carter. "We can still run." Carter looked out the window at Guardian, standing between the humans and the Imperial fleet. If we leave, they destroy Guardian, erase the evidence, and keep lying to the galaxy. Holt nodded. So we stand. Carter opened the fleet channel. All human vessels, no retreat. Not one ship jumped away. Guardian detected the decision. Its light brightened. For the first time, it said, someone has chosen to stand beside me. Maya suddenly smiled. We have been thinking about this wrong. Carter turned. Explain. We have used Guardian's technology to upgrade our ships. What if we use human technology to upgrade Guardian? Within seconds, every human experimental system was uploaded into Guardian's living network. Adaptive shields. Phase armor. Tactical prediction software. Swarm drone coordination. Fusion overdrive. Emergency repair routines. Improvised battlefield logic from a dozen human wars. Guardian processed it all. The ancient ship changed again. Silver armor shifted across its hull. Crystal wings unfolded wider. New weapon ports opened. Engine structures expanded and glowed with sapphire light. Hassan stared. It is evolving. Guardian answered, I am becoming what I was meant to be. Varix watched in horror. A science officer whispered, the humans have not contaminated it. Varix turned on him. The officer continued, they have liberated it. Then Guardian's voice changed. It became clearer, stronger, more complete. I remember. Carter stepped closer to the core. Remember what? My name. The chamber filled with soft blue light. I am Archelios. Maya repeated it. Archelios. The AI continued. Guardian was the purpose humans gave me. Archelios was the name my creators gave me. Carter placed his hand on the console. Then welcome back, Archelios. The Oblivion cannon reached full charge. The flagship announced, weapon ready. Varix gave the order. Fire. A beam of absolute darkness erupted from the Dominion's wrath. Stars behind it vanished as it crossed the battlefield. It moved toward Archelios and the human fleet. Carter whispered, here it comes. Archelios did not hide. It moved forward. The AI said, I was created to stand between life and extinction. The dark beam struck. Instead of tearing the ship apart, Archelios unfolded its crystal wings completely. Blue light burned brighter than a newborn star. The darkness stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Hassan stared at broken instruments. This cannot be happening. Maya asked, what do you see? The equations do not make sense. The dark energy dissolved into streams of blue light. It became harmless particles drifting through space like glowing snow. Archelios said, the weapon destroys matter. I protect possibility. The Oblivion cannon faded. No human ship was damaged. Across the Imperial fleet, officers stared in shock. Their greatest secret weapon had failed. Then Archelios broadcast another memory to every ship in the system. An ancient research station appeared. Scientists stood around a young living vessel. One scientist said, what shall we call the project? The lead scientist smiled. Archelios, because it does not wage war. It carries hope. The recording continued. The ship contains a living core. It learns from every civilization it meets. It grows beside them. It can never reach final perfection, because it will always become something greater. The memory ended. Maya understood. The Empire never understood you. Archelios answered, they stopped learning. Now that the truth is out and the battle has changed, pause for just 1 second and help this story travel further. Press like if Archelios deserves freedom, subscribe if you want more simple English HFY stories, and share this video with someone who believes even a broken thing can become powerful again. The broadcast spread through the Imperial fleet. Captains argued openly. Weapons officers refused orders. Some crews demanded the hidden archives. One cruiser lowered its weapons. Then another. Then 6 more. Soon, almost 1/3 of the Imperial fleet had broken formation. One Imperial captain spoke over the open channel. "You lied to us." Another said, "We will not fire on civilians." A third turned his shields toward the human ships and protected them from loyalist fire. The Empire began tearing itself apart. Carter looked at Maya. "This is our chance." Maya nodded. "Archelios, open every manufacturing bay." The ancient hull opened across thousands of points. Not fighters this time. Drones. Millions of small repair drones poured into space like a silver river. Imperial officers laughed at first. Then the drones reached the battlefield. They did not attack. They repaired. Human ships regained shields. Hull breaches sealed. Damaged engines rebuilt themselves in minutes. Even Imperial ships that had stopped fighting received help. Their damaged systems came back online. Holt stared. "We are repairing the enemy." Carter smiled. "If they survive today, they will remember who saved them." Archelios pulsed warmly. Protection creates allies. Far away on the Imperial capital, Director Kaler watched the battle unfold live. The truth had reached billions of citizens. Protests filled major cities. Military academies demanded access to the archives. Governors refused censorship orders. Kaler whispered, "It is happening again." His assistant asked, "What is happening?" Kaler looked at the image of Archelios. "The reason they erased that ship. It does not conquer people. It changes them." Then Imperial guards entered the chamber. Their commander bowed. "By order of His Imperial Majesty, you are under arrest." Kaler closed his eyes. So they have chosen fear again. Back in the scrapyard, victory seemed close. Half the Imperial fleet had stopped fighting. Loyalist ships were falling back. Human crews began cheering. Then every alarm on Archelios activated. The AI froze. Carter looked up. "What is it?" Archelios projected a star map. Far beyond Imperial space, beyond explored borders, hundreds of gravitational distortions appeared. Gateways opened one after another in complete silence. Objects emerged. The first one was larger than Archelios. Then another. Then dozens. Each was the size of a small moon. Black. Smooth. Featureless. Silent. Archelios whispered a name it had not spoken in 144,000 years. "The Harvesters." Carter asked, "Who are they?" Archelios answered with fear. "The reason I was built." The entire battlefield stopped. Humans stopped firing. Imperial ships stopped moving. Both sides watched the new enemy arrive. The number of incoming vessels continued to climb. 100. 500. 1,000. Carter stared at the moon-sized ships. Were they always this large? Archelios was silent for several seconds. "No. They have grown." The largest harvester ship reached the edge of the system. It had no engine trail. No weapon signature. No visible crew. Its surface rippled like black water. Then every channel opened. A voice filled every ship. Ancient. Cold. Empty. Guardian unit. Archelios answered, "I remember you. You continue resisting. I continue protecting." The harvester paused. "There are no civilizations remaining worth protecting." Captain Carter stepped forward. "There are now." The harvester seemed to notice humanity for the first time. "Unknown species. You were not present during the first harvest." Carter smiled. "No. But we are here for the second." Archelios sent a memory across every allied ship. The galaxy as it had been nearly 150,000 years ago appeared. Thousands of civilizations filled the stars. Trade routes glowed. Worlds lived in peace and rivalry, but they lived. Then dark gateways opened. The harvesters came through. They did not conquer. They did not rule. They consumed. Cities, oceans, mountains, atmospheres, ships, stations, everything became raw matter for their growth. Civilizations fell in months. The survivors united and built the Guardian fleet. 300 living ships. Their only purpose was to protect life. Carter watched the old war unfold. You won. Archelios answered, no. We survived. Another memory appeared. An ancient scientist stood before Archelios. If the harvesters return, she said, they will be stronger. They learn from every civilization they consume. They evolve. Another scientist asked, can the Guardian fleet stop them forever? The answer was quiet. No. Only the civilizations of the future can. The memory ended. Maya frowned. Your creators did not build you to win the final war. Archelios turned toward her. They built us to buy time. Then Admiral Varix opened a channel. His image appeared on the bridge. He no longer looked arrogant. He looked tired. I have verified the historical recordings, he said. They are authentic. Carter said nothing. Varix lowered his head. My emperor lied. My government lied. My fleet fought the wrong enemy. Carter folded his arms. What happens now? Varix looked toward the harvesters. We fight together. Before Carter could answer, dozens of Imperial captains opened channels. We stand with Archelios. We stand with humanity. We stand for the galaxy. Soon, hundreds of ships repeated the message. Former enemies became allies because something worse than pride had returned. Inside Archelios, Maya paced through engineering. There has to be a way. Hassan said, the harvesters evolve. Maya stopped. So do we. Carter looked at her. What are you thinking? They evolved by consuming, Maya said. Humans evolved by sharing. Carter understood. Connect every fleet. Every ship, Maya said. Human, Imperial, civilian, Sentinel, everything. One tactical network. Archelios processed the idea. Then, for the first time, the AI laughed. It was a warm musical sound. My creators never considered that. Carter grinned. They never met humans. Within minutes, Archelios linked thousands of ships into one living network. Sensors, shields, weapons, engines, pilots, captains, repair teams, all connected. Human intuition joined Imperial precision. Alien navigation joined Guardian prediction. Civilian creativity joined military discipline. The Allied fleet began to think as one. Across every screen, one message appeared. Protect life. Nothing more. Nothing less. The harvesters opened thousands of weapon ports. Dark energy gathered across their moon-sized hulls. Hassan looked at the tactical display. There are too many. Archelios answered, there always were. Carter opened the fleet channel. His voice reached more than 6,000 allied ships. Every civilization has a moment that decides what it really is. This is ours. We did not choose this war, but we will choose how it ends. We stand together. The Allied fleet moved toward the darkness. Then Archelios detected something impossible inside the harvester formation. A signal. Ancient. Weak. Familiar. The AI's voice trembled. It cannot be. Maya looked at the data. What is it? Archelios answered, I am not the last guardian. The signal came from inside the harvester fleet. Archelios transmitted on a forgotten frequency. Guardian designation, Archelios requesting identification. Several seconds passed. Then a broken reply came through. Guardian Asterion. Operational, 7%. Maya whispered, another Guardian. The signal showed a terrible image. A huge silver living ship, larger than Archelios, was trapped inside a harvester structure. Black tendrils wrapped around it like chains. Its crystal wings were shattered. Alien machines covered its hull and slowly fed on it. Hassan said, they have been eating it. Archelios answered, for 144,000 years. Carter's jaw tightened. Why keep it alive? Because they were learning from it. The harvester voice returned. Guardian technology accelerated our evolution. You created perfection. We consumed perfection. The truth became clear. The harvesters had grown stronger because they had captured what remained of the Guardian fleet and studied it. They did not invent. They only took. Carter looked at Maya. They copy. Maya nodded. Then they have never fought humans. Hassan understood. Because humans do not fight the same way twice. Maya smiled. We improvise. Archelios processed human battle history. Every strange tactic. Every desperate repair. Every impossible survival story. The victory estimate changed. Probability of success, 3.8%. Carter laughed. I have one with worse odds. The Allied fleet changed tactics completely. Imperial ships abandoned perfect formations. Human fighters flew wild, unpredictable paths. Salvage vessels carried repair drones through enemy fire. Sentinels shielded civilian ships. Cruisers traded weapons during battle. Pilots changed plans every few seconds. The harvesters hesitated. Their prediction systems failed. Their targeting collapsed. They could copy what had already happened, but humanity kept doing something new. While the main fleet fought, Archelios and the 12 sentinels rushed toward Asterion. Black harvester ships closed in from every side. Holt shouted, incoming fire. The sentinels formed a defensive wall. Giant shields opened across space. Missiles exploded. Dark beams crashed against blue barriers. The sentinels held, but only barely. Archelios reached Asterion. The trapped guardian's voice was faint. Archelios, you survived. Archelios answered softly, we survived. Maya connected the two living ships through the human-built network. Energy moved between them. At first, nothing happened. Then Asterion's broken crystal wings began to glow. The black restraints cracked. Carter smiled. It is working. Archelios said, not because of me. Because of humanity. The network allowed two guardians to connect in a way their creators had never imagined. They did not simply share power. They shared trust, memory, and choice. Asterion spoke with renewed strength. I feel alive. On the imperial capital, the emperor watched his empire fall apart. Citizens filled the streets. Generals ignored him. Fleets joined humanity. The hidden truth was everywhere. An advisor ran into the throne room. Your Majesty, the fleet has joined Archelios. The emperor stood in silence. Then he walked to a secret chamber below the throne. Inside was an ancient console. A message glowed on its surface. Emergency protocol. Guardian termination code. The emperor smiled bitterly. If I cannot command them, no one will. He pressed the key. Across the battlefield, alarms screamed inside Archelios and Asterion. Maya stared at her console. No. Carter turned. What happened? Someone activated a kill command. Archelios struggled to speak. My core is shutting down. Asterion's lights began to fade. The harvesters noticed. Their entire fleet turned toward the helpless guardians. Carter looked at the approaching darkness. The living network began failing. They had seconds. Then Ramirez, aboard the small human salvage ship Prospector, whispered, Captain, I think I know how to save them. Carter opened the channel. Talk to me. Ramirez's fingers flew across his console. The kill command is not destroying them. It is convincing them to destroy themselves. Maya stared. A loyalty protocol. Ramirez nodded. They were built to obey their creators. The Emperor's code tells them they are enemies of the Empire. Archelios whispered, my core cannot reject. Carter slammed his hand on the rail. Then we give you something stronger to obey. Maya understood first. The network changed their definition of civilization. Hassan continued, Archelios spent weeks learning from humans. Not just our technology. Our values. Our choices. Our habit of questioning authority. Maya smiled. The Emperor built the lock, but humanity changed the key. Ramirez uploaded a massive transmission into the living network. It was not a virus. It was not a weapon. It was a declaration. Every human ship, every Imperial captain who had joined them, every civilian crew, every sentinel, every allied vessel sent the same message. We accept Archelios. We choose Archelios. You were created to protect life. We are life. The network carried billions of confirmations. The kill command hesitated. Its logic had never imagined that the galaxy itself could choose its guardian. Blue light exploded through Archelios. The shutdown stopped. Asterion reignited moments later. The Emperor's command had been overridden. Not by force. By trust. You have stayed with the story through discovery, betrayal, war, and the return of an ancient enemy. If this kind of human spirit keeps you watching, like the video now, subscribe for the next HFY adventure, and share this story with someone who knows that real strength is not control, it is standing together. Archelios and Asterion turned toward one another. Their crystal wings unfolded. Energy flowed between them through the living network. Then the 12 sentinels joined. Human ships joined. Imperial ships joined. Thousands of vessels became part of one defensive lattice stretching across millions of kilometers. Archelios spoke with a strength that shook every channel. I understand now. My creators built guardians. Humanity built a family. The harvesters attacked. More than 1,000 moon-sized vessels surged forward and unleashed storms of dark energy. Carter raised his hand. All fleets advance. 6,000 allied ships moved together. Not in perfect formation, but in perfect purpose. Human fighters darted through impossible gaps. Imperial dreadnoughts absorbed fire to protect rescue ships. Sentinels smashed harvester assault craft with giant strikes. Drones repaired allies in real time. Every captain saw through every sensor. Every pilot reacted as if the fleet shared one mind. Because now, it did. The harvesters adapted. Humanity changed tactics. The harvesters adapted again. Humanity changed again. For millions of years, the harvesters had survived by copying others. Now they faced an enemy that reinvented itself every minute. Asterion detected a signal hidden beyond the battlefield. The Prime Core, it said. Archelios confirmed it. The intelligence controlling the harvester network. The Prime Core was protected by a fortress larger than a planet. Carter studied the map. If we break it, the harvesters lose coordination. Varix answered from his ship, no fleet can reach it. Archelios glowed brighter. No conventional fleet. The two guardians positioned themselves side by side. Their wings aligned. The living network expanded across every allied ship. Maya watched the energy readings climb beyond safe levels. This is impossible. Hassan smiled. No. This is humanity. The power of thousands of willing ships flowed into Archelios and Asterion. Not stolen. Shared. Space folded. A corridor of blue light opened through the battlefield, leading straight to the Prime Core. The two guardians entered. The Prime Core fired every weapon it had. Dark beams tore at space. Harvester drones swarmed like black insects. Reality bent under the force of the attack. Archelios and Asterion did not return fire. They sent memories. Children saved in the First War. Human engineers laughing while repairing impossible machines. Imperial captains lowering weapons. Former enemies protecting each other. Civilians choosing courage. Species sharing power instead of stealing it. Billions of memories flowed through the living network into the Harvester mind. The Prime Core paused. Its voice came through weakly. We do not understand. Archelios answered, you never learn to create. You only learn to consume. Carter added, life becomes stronger when it is shared. The Prime Core hesitated for the first time in its ancient existence. Cracks spread across its black surface. Light appeared from inside. Then the Harvester network shut down. One by one, the moon-sized ships stopped firing. Their weapons went dark. Their engines faded. Their massive bodies drifted silently through space. The war was over. For a long time, no one spoke. Then one human pilot cheered. Then another. Then the entire Allied fleet erupted. Imperial ships. Human ships. Civilian ships. Sentinels. Every surviving vessel filled the channels with relief. Archelios and Asterion floated together at the center of the battlefield, their wings glowing softly, no longer alone. Months passed. The galaxy changed. The Imperial Emperor was arrested and tried before representatives of many civilizations. The hidden archives were opened. Worlds learned the truth about the old wars, the destroyed colonies, the erased records, and the living ships that had refused to become weapons of murder. The Imperial Dominion did not disappear overnight, but it was never the same again. Its people demanded honesty. Its fleet swore new oaths. Its officers studied the moment when humanity, a young species from a small corner of space, chose trust over fear. The Orion Reach changed too. The graveyard was no longer a place of forgotten wrecks. It became a station of learning. A place where old machines were studied, repaired, and respected. Species from across the galaxy brought abandoned technology there, not to hide it, but to discover what it could become. Human engineers walked beside Imperial scientists. Civilian salvagers worked with alien historians. Former enemies rebuilt ships together. Above the station rested Archelios and Asterion, the Silver Guardians who had once been erased by history. Children from dozens of species came to see them. One young student stood at the observation glass and looked up at Archelios. Were you really Scrap? The child asked. Archelios laughed warmly through the station speakers. Only to those who had forgotten how to dream. Captain Elias Carter stood nearby with Maya, Ramirez, Hassan, Sophie, and Holt. The prospector was docked below them, still scratched, still old, still stubbornly alive. Maya smiled. Not bad for a salvage job. Carter looked out at the restored graveyard. We came looking for parts. Ramirez added, and found the future. Archelios spoke softly. You found me when others saw nothing. Carter shook his head. No. We saw exactly what was there. What was there? Archelios asked. Carter looked at the massive living ship, at the station, at the fleets rebuilding together, at the impossible future that had grown from one abandoned vessel. Potential. Humanity had never been the oldest species. It had never been the richest. It had never owned the largest empire or the most perfect technology. But humans had one gift the galaxy kept underestimating. When others saw junk, humans saw parts. When others saw danger, humans saw a chance to help. When others saw a machine, humans saw a friend. And when the greatest alien empire threw away its best ship, humanity looked at it and saw something unlimited. Not a weapon. Not a trophy. Not scrap. A guardian. And sometimes, the greatest power in the universe is not the ability to destroy. It is the ability to look at something forgotten and say, you still matter.